It's making me a little nervous there. Nobody's saying nobody commenting, so I turned off the microphone and turned it back on. Hopefully we weren't dealing with a microphone problem again. Gonna need a screwdriver for that. That's a little tight. Hello, Azriel. How's it going today? Trying to find a screwdriver. I'm not sure that I brought one big enough for what I need, so I may have to improvise or find another tool. Yeah. Apparently I'm not going to be able to get that off. Should have brought my stubby little screwdriver with me. I brought all these precision. The biggest that I brought with me was that, and that is not going to do the job. I'm doing good, Azriel. What's up, Zippo Daily Fix? Glad that you've joined us today. Haven't seen you around in a while. Of course, I haven't been over in the Zippo Fanatic 77 live stream, but I don't think he's really been doing a lot of them recently either. So I talked about you the other day, ZDF, in well, it's been a few weeks ago now, making a video for Windmaster lighter that ended up in my hands through Dylan and ZF77 and yourself, I believe. What's up, Jacob? Glad that all of you guys have joined us this morning. Hope that your day is it's not a bad day outside, and I'm gonna walk back over to Mesta Park here a little bit later this afternoon, so I'm not really complaining. It's been pretty mild weather lately. I'm sure we'll get down freezing again sooner or later, but for now it's just pretty much overcast and, you know, somewhere between the just above freezing and just below pleasant. Yeah, I thought about that, Jacob, but I don't have one. I don't carry change. I might be able to find something. I had a multi-tool around here, but I couldn't find it. We'll see what shows up. What's up, Natha? Yeah, I haven't been outside, but it looks a little damp. I've just stood at the back door. It definitely feels a little damp from there. Yeah, it was a ZDF. It was a Windmaster with uh, Remembrance Advertising logo on the front. Um, what is that slogan? Anyway, it's got a like a finger with a string tied around it, like a reminder. I don't know why that was so hard for me to come up with. But anyway, I did that, and I had soaked the original insert in vinegar. It was so corroded, and I couldn't get the wheel to turn at all. And but when I did that, the the leaf spring that holds that lid had been broken at some point, and when all that rust was gone, then there wasn't anything to hold it in there. So I put it together with a replacement insert, and I'm going to be um, auctioning that off in one of the 100% for charity penny start auctions. I just started one last week with one of the Zippos that Gavin Lannon had sent with that big box of Tobacciana. And so anyway, I'll have that in one of those listings soon. Got a few other lighters similarly lined up, so I don't know what order. Those go 10 days at a time, and I don't run but one at a time at the most. Warm and wet there as usual, huh? In Southeast Asia. Yeah, Jacob, I don't typically tighten things down unless I just have to. So that's why I assumed I could probably do it with my thumb, but I'll break my thumbnail with that one. I don't know why it was so tight. I don't remember that. It gets stuff kind of runs together though. I was looking over there yesterday. I think I've published somewhere in the neighborhood of 700 videos, and the vast majority of those are on cigarette lighters. So that's a lot of thumb screws, flint spring screws, a lot of mechanisms, a lot of repetition too, but hard to remember exactly what happens with each lighter, especially when a year may pass before I pick it back up again. Yeah, I may be a little slow, Azrael, but I finally remember. There may not have been 100% confidence in my voice when I said it, but I'm in Oklahoma City, Jacob, and feel free to let us know where you're from if you would like as well. NAFTA's in Tulsa. Zippo Daily Fix, I'm not positive exactly, somewhere in the Midwest, I think. Azrael, Southeast Asia. Sean, who joins us a lot of times, is in the UK, and we got a few other people from the UK as well. Cincinnati, there you go, Ohio. That was my all those years in the postal service, going back to work there, trying to remember that ZDF. Because the only idea I had from where you were, where you lived, is the return address on that package for that. No, that wasn't the same lighter. I was thinking it was that same lighter we were just talking about, but you forwarded me the custom Zippo that Zippo Fanatic 77 sent, with 420 cannabis leaf and the bare-chested woman on the other side. West Virginia, Jacob. All right, man, that's cool. We've had gnarly news. He's from right here in Oklahoma City. He joins us a lot of times too. So it's kind of funny that it does seem like, I don't know, it's kind of odd with so few people participating in the stream at this point that so many of them have been from Oklahoma. I can think of four in total, counting Gnarly and NAFTA. But we've had plenty of others from all the way around the world join us. Like I said, the UK, Southeast Asia. Um, our friend Thuan, I believe, is from Vietnam. He's joined us a few times. I wish my friend Donald Hind, who I met on Facebook, he prepares a lot of butane lighters. I know he has seen these links. Maybe he'll join us one of these. I need to send him a private message and ask him to join us. But I get questions about butane lighters all the time, and it's not that I don't want to help. I'm just not any help. So I usually refer those to Donald and his website, which is in Danish, I think is the language. I think that's right. Is that Denmark? I could be wrong. It's a European country. But if you go to his website, which is lighterfix.dk, up at the top, or at least I can when I go there from on Chrome, you can have your browser translate it, and then it looks just like any other website. Was there anything specific you guys would like to talk about today? Any of you drinking coffee you'd like to give a shout out to? Or some other drink that we should know about? I just drink cheap decaf with heavy whipping cream and erythritol or stevia sweetener. I don't consume sugar or carbs, only what's necessary. I'm gonna go see if I can find that. I'd really like to light that table lighter up. Best I remember, it lit pretty well. No, I don't even have an implement on here that's suitable. So I guess we'll have to save that for fueling for next week. Now, I just got a notification here that my friend Donald liked the Facebook notification. So maybe he'll join us. Maybe I should go tag him over there and say, come join us, talk about butane lighters. I think he repairs other lighters. Just from looking at his website, I don't think he's purely butane. But he's about the only person that I know to ask questions. I mean, there's all kinds of people out there in the Facebook groups that work on butane lighters, but you know, I'm not. I'm just not. What's the word? I just don't really have a taste for that discussion. As soon as I see it, it just turns me off. And not because of, I don't mean that in a judgmental way. It's just because like I've said before, it makes my head hurt. What kind of monk fruit sweetener did you try there, ZDF? I've never tried the monk fruit stuff, but some of the brands that I've used of stevia and erythritol sweetener also you have a monk fruit variety, and I wondered about that. Naphtha says he's drinking sparkling water right now. Can't say that I don't know that I've ever drank sparkling water. Sounds like a good thing to drink though. You've been using matches to light up, Azrael? Now you also said that you collect uh, Bic lighters, right? By the way, ZDF, this stuff right here, this Pure brand, this is the best I've found. A little bit more expensive than some of the others, but it says it's twice as sweet as sugar. It says you can measure it half as much as you should sugar. I use it as the same in most baking recipes that I use, and I put about 3 spoonfuls in my coffee. But that stuff tastes just like sugar. It doesn't have any. It's not artificial sweetener, and it doesn't have any aftertaste, that kind of stuff. Just tastes sweet. What's up, Sean? Yeah, that's my sugar. I don't consume sugar, carbs, only what's naturally in a few foods like almonds. I eat a lot of almonds and almond flour and that kind of stuff, and then a lot of vegetables that have a negligible amount of carbohydrates or sugar. So, but I don't eat pasta. I don't eat flour. I don't eat sugar, and I really haven't missed it. Yeah, I eat a lot of nuts, pepitas, uh, pumpkin kernels, almonds, pecans, walnuts, peanuts, sunflower kernels. Those are all a regular part of my diet. And a lot of fat too. I eat a lot of butter, mayonnaise. Yeah, I think the kind of my favorite are the pepitas, the pumpkin kernels. They taste the best, and for the price, they're kind of moderately priced for the amount of protein you get in them. I think they're the highest amount, 8 grams of protein per serving per ounce, um, and it's pretty much measured the same across any nut you're gonna find. And 8, I believe, was the highest. Soybeans might be higher, but that's not a nut. And a lot of people think soybeans aren't healthy for you. I don't know. I don't eat them, but I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I would definitely eat a soybean before I would eat sugar or a noodle. I just mentioned you a while ago, Sean, that you were from England. We've got a new friend here, Jacob, from, did you say West Virginia? Yeah, West Virginia. Gnarly, who is from North Oklahoma City or Edmond, I believe. Okay, say that again, Gnarly. What did you just say? Raw pumpkin seeds kill internal pesticides or parasites. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? um, yeah, for one thing, I don't eat them raw. I'm sort of a germaphobe, and I never. We've got Winco grocery stores here, and I never understood people using those big bins. But I don't eat them. I buy them raw and then I roast them. So I don't mind doing it like that. But yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna do some of that later on. Roasting them up with some cocoa and maybe some others with cinnamon. You know, gnarly. I never really. I've had what is that stuff that's made of hazelnut that tastes chocolate? Um, I can't remember. Somebody will say it. So I guess I know a little bit of what hazelnut tastes like, but I hadn't really thought about incorporating hazelnut into that. Yeah, I'll have to check it out, see what the nutritional values on hazelnuts are. I don't eat cashews because they're higher in sugar than most other nuts. A couple of grams of sugar per serving. And a little, I think maybe 6 grams of protein, something like that. I got nothing in particular. No, I guess got a bunch of lighters out here in front. I was planning on fueling this one up. We talked about it last week, maybe doing a giveaway for that lighter. But I forgot my shorter screwdriver, so I can't get the fuel screw out of it. I got a couple others here that you'll be seeing videos on, updated videos, because they've each already had their own. This Lost Proof has had a couple, but I'm going to be listing those for sale. And so really, I guess the only project I got left for today would be clearing out the flint tube in this park, seeing whether that wick still has any structural integrity to it or whether it needs to be replaced. So I might do that here in a minute. I know a lot of people gnarly do hazelnut in their coffee. What is, by the way, what was your point about, is that a good thing? I guess it is if you got, I know we got internal bacteria and all that that's good, but I think parasites probably aren't good. So it's probably a good thing if the raw pumpkin kernels kill the parasites inside of you. Yeah, that ashtray, Sean, is one of them that came in that big box of Tobacciana from Gavin. And there was actually 2 of them in there. But it's a cast ashtray. I've yet to do a video on it yet, but it's cast and plated. But it's also, looks like, been turned. So it's been machined to some point too. So I don't know if that's just, the camel was in the casting, so they finished this to sharpen that up. I don't know exactly how the construction, but it's really well made. It does have a sticker on it that says made in China. There were 2 of them, so they set right inside of each other. Really handy. Hadn't decided exactly what I was going to do with them yet. Maybe put them in one of those penny start auction charities, sell them together. I don't know. Tobacco is like anything to related, like memorabilia related to tobacco. I don't know if that's the technical definition. I don't know if that would qualify. I'm certain that that's a sufficient definition, though. Uh, Memorabilia relating to smoking, tobacco, that kind of thing. What's up, Buddha? All right, Gnarly confirms that that is a good thing. Yeah, it does. You know, I hadn't even thought about checking that. I've got a might sit right down in some of those smoking stands. Yeah, ZDF and Sean both mentioned that it looks like, excuse me, that it looks like it should fit into something. I agree with you. I hadn't, well, I mentioned that it fit down in the other one nicely, which I did notice that, but it didn't dawn on me that, yeah, that would, I don't know if that's what it was made for or not. Maybe there was a standard cutout in bars or something. Some bar tops. What's up, Eastwa? Thank you, Buddha. Appreciate that. What are you say that you bought a Japanese table lighter, but that it has a unique friction wheel with the grooved gear attached to the side for the snuffer. How's that different from other? I mean, they all have those gears on the side, the teeth on the side that interact with a clutch spring of one way or another. Cool, Eastwa. We'll be glad to see you when you can make it back. Definitely don't want to get in your way of making those videos for TikTok. We've talked about it the last couple weeks. If you guys haven't checked it out, you need to go over and watch Eastwa doing Flom's videos on TikTok. I don't think he's publishing on YouTube currently, but he's publishing at least once a day over on TikTok. Really cool videos with music integrated and very witty and catchy. Mom Dude 56, glad that you've joined us. And they ask, are there any lighters that you would say are regional? And I would definitely say there are some lighters that are regional. Just as Azrael has asked, brought up the lighters from the sunflower lighters that were made in China. I've have some exposure to them. The 6506, I've had 3 of them, but that's it. I haven't had any of those others. The colorful little lighter series and whatever. I can't remember now the specific ones that he asked about. Yeah, ZDF, I have a lot of stuff too, and I just realized that stuff that Gavin sent me was a RJR keychain, that blue ashtray over there. Yeah, there's a lot of cool promotional stuff over the years. But to answer your question, Mom Dude, there are also lighters like Park or Storm King, which are really prevalent in the United States, but not so much in Europe or other countries. So yeah, I would definitely say there are some regional lighters. To some extent, I would say Zippos the same way. But you know, I guess that wouldn't necessarily be so much regional as national. Azrael, my name is Joe. Joseph was the name my mother and father gave me. Everybody's called me Joe since I can remember. You asking me if I play any musical instruments? Gnarly, I do not. Don't have any real musical talent. I love music. I'm a great appreciator of it. Buddha, send me some pictures. You can go to the Contact Us page over on dependable.flame.com, and you can find several ways that you can get a hold of me and send pictures. You can do that with a text, you can do that with an email, or you can do it on Facebook. But just send me some pictures with the mechanism, you know, as detailed pictures as you can, and I'll try to get to you as best I can. Cool, Sean. Yeah, I can't remember. I think I told the story on here. Maybe it was in a video, but I'm named after my grandfather on my dad's side, my dad's dad. But his name was simply Columbus Hudson. He didn't have a middle name, but his nickname was Joe. So my parents named me Joseph Duane, and so even though I'm named after his nickname, they gave me the proper Joseph rather than just Joe. You talking about Whiskey River with the Willie Nelson song Whiskey River? Yeah, I've heard it. Um, Mom, dude, I'm trying to think. I don't really have much of a collection. As a matter of fact, you see a few of them. Well, these are currently in my personal collection. These are lighters I'm about to sell out of it. But I've got my personal collection of Cygnus lighters, and then some lighters that relate to me personally. Some of them, a couple that belong to my dad, and then a bunch of others that um, I purchased or remind me of family members. Um, Most of them family members that have passed. So no, I don't. Well, the only it's not in my personal collection. I wouldn't say, but I've got a Swiss-made aluminum block lighter that I think is pretty rare. I've never seen another one like it, but I haven't been doing this very long either. But the mechanism on it is what's so interesting. It's that Nika lighter that you can see over there in in my eBay store. Yeah, you're not going to get me to sing, Sean. Yeah, I guess it's worth a shot, huh? It's not that I've never done anything embarrassing in a video. But I don't think that anybody would really appreciate it if I sang either. Probably better left undone. We could look up the lyrics to the song though, if we need to find the lyrics. Yeah, yeah, I've heard that one a time or two, Sean. That's the first time I've heard it with the Zippo twist, though. I don't know that I know that song, Azriel. And I thought I knew Waylon pretty well. I probably know Waylon. I know great, like greatest hits Waylon. You know, most of his big stuff was kind of before my time. Certainly before I was listening to albums, and I never went back and man, there's so much great country music to appreciate that it's hard to once you discover some, it's hard to get off of it, and then you don't have time for going and discovering new till that some of that wears off. I love country music though. The only song you've heard from him ain't living long like this. I'll have to look it up. You know, Waylon narrated the Dukes of Hazzard television program back in the 1980s. And, you know, those guys had a lot of hits. Waylon, Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash, all those guys had a lot of hits all the way up into the 80s and 90s. And, um, well, Johnny Cash still had some really big hits right up to the end. But their best stuff was in the 60s and 70s. Maybe still some of it in the 80s. Yeah, you know, Jacob, I'm not, I've talked about it several times. I am a collector, but not primarily. I wish I could. I talk about that. You'll see it tomorrow in the video that I made for this loss proof. It's a lighter I would really like to keep a hold of, but I came to this first and foremost as a seller. It was finding lighters that I could repair and then turn around and make quick money on, and you know, I built a business out of that. So I've got probably 60 lighters right now that would be considered, well, maybe not that many, maybe not quite that many, maybe 50, I don't know. There was a guy named Richard Ball who created the Lighter Club of Great Britain, I think. Everybody, I didn't know him, just, you know, from seeing posts and Facebook lighter groups and that kind of thing. But he passed a few years ago, and when he did, you know, there was really an outpouring of support for his family and condolences, and everybody seemed to really respect this guy. But I saw a quote from him in one of the, I don't know if it was one of the old OTLS newsletters, or if it, I think maybe it was on a Facebook, in one of those Facebook groups, somebody commenting after he'd passed. They asked him how big his collection was, and he said that when he got to 30, it was time to get rid of one. That's kind of mind-boggling if you think about it. 30 is not very many, especially when I mean, I can sit here and think of 30 different mechanisms I would like to have, made by different brands, not even consider the embellishment or the metal they're made of or anything like that. So, you know, I think it's all about what you want to do, what kind of collector you are. Like I said, I'm kind of envious sometimes that I can't keep a hold of everything, but at the same time, I have the opportunity to handle them and to document them and get them working again, and you know, that affords me the ability to do the other things I want to do. So I'm not really complaining. I'm just saying, You know, there are huge collections. There are some people that will tell you how much money they spent on their collection. Um, I don't know. To me, it's more about value and also um, really sentimentality. Because I do have lighters in my collection that people gave me, like the lighter that we talked about that ZDF mailed to me from ZF77. That'll always be in my personal collection. I'll never sell that one. Same with the JDH lighter that Gavin gave me. That'll always be part of my personal collection. Then, like I said, I've bought some lighters for sentimental reasons, nostalgic reasons, most of them family related. But I don't really ever see myself having a huge collection either. And you know, even with the Cygnus lighters, I love when I see a Cygnus lighter. I mean, I want it. Even if I get excited even when I see one that's just a silver tone or gold tone, nothing special about it, no engraving, no emblems, anything like that. But man, sometimes you'll see one of a color that you never found. But you know, there's one right now that's been listed on eBay for over a year. Color's different from any I've ever seen, and it has some engraving, and they want like $250 for it. Well, that lighter's just, there's no reason for me to lose any sleep over that because I'll never pay it. You know, I very seldom even pay prices that, you know, I feel like I got to get a bargain on every lighter I buy. But I buy a lot of lighters, and you know, I'm not in any huge hurry. So, whatever. Like I said, it's to each his own, really. Are you talking, Jacob? Were you talking about Waylon when you said they wouldn't show his face? Oh yeah, that's what the song says. He's showing his hands and not his face on TV. I was a little slow on that one. Yeah, 200 lighters is a pretty good collection. That's certainly more, you know, maybe not more than I have in my possession, but you know, I may have a couple hundred project lighters in my possession right now. In the middle of the project. If you send one with sentimental value, then yes, you need to tell them how you want them to treat it. But you can also just like not send in the insert and tell them you would like a replacement. Um, but if you don't want them to change the hinge because it's a different hinge than what they're going to replace it with or whatever, yeah, you can go ahead and let them know that when you send it in. What lighter are you talking about, Jacob? See if we can take care of this insert real quick. $19.45, huh? What kind of champion spark plug are we talking about? An engraving on the Zippo? See, that windscreen is pretty fouled up. Oh, well, guess it would help if I pulled the flint spring screw out first. We're already dropping flint dust down here on this cloth. We'll poke that down to get the solid fuel cell to get out of there enough that we can get a hold of it. If not, then we may have to replace it with the just replace it with the organic cotton. Which I think at this point we will just go ahead and do. We've already done enough damage trying to pull that out of there. And it had probably been contaminated at some point or gotten wet. So we're probably better off doing that anyway. Still feels a lot better when it comes out in one piece and doesn't do that, but oh well. There you see the same crappy looking park wick. So it looks pretty clean inside. We'll go ahead and get another cloth and get this wiped out outside. If I can find a toothpick. Check out the chat here, see what you guys are talking about. East Wall is back. You know, I've done some deals like that in the past, ZDF. Talking about a guy that's got some gun, an AK-47 he wants to trade. I've certainly, well, I've been on both ends of some of those kind of deals. Sometimes it's easier to trade the guns than it is to take the time to get the cash. You said 1945, Jacob. 1945, I think, was still during World War II. That's why I asked about how the first Zippo, I believe, Sean, was made in 1933, but somehow the company was established in 1932. I don't know what I can't get a straight answer on that one. 32 or 33, I think. What are you talking about you can't have in the UK, Sean? Yeah. Yeah, I guess other states may have their laws may be different, but yeah, in Oklahoma, you don't have to register your guns or, if, of course, you buy a gun online or whatever, you got to go through an FFL, and that's going to be transferred over into your name through that process, but you can go sell a gun to anybody on the street as long as you don't have reason to believe that they can't own the gun, and there's nothing wrong with that. Perfectly lawful. Or to trade it as cash. As long as you, like I said, don't have reason to believe that that person can't lawfully possess that firearm. Okay, so we got that windscreen cleared out about as good as we're going to. Get a hex bit here. Yeah, Jacob, just go over to my website, man. Contact us page. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Oh, can't do that on here. Okay, just go over here to my website, man. Dependableflame.com. And when you get there, click on Vintage Lighters, go down here to where it says Contact Us, and some brief instructions there that might be helpful, if I'm going to be helpful to you. And then email, phone that you can text it to. Of course, you could always mail them to me, but there's surely no need for that. Facebook is the other good option. Go to the Facebook group or Facebook page, and then, well, I can't message myself. It's taking me to the public link there. But there's a link there to where you can message me in the messenger function of, so iPad is going crazy on me. Anyway, Facebook, text, or email. Seven years for one bullet in the UK, huh? It's crazy. My views on firearms have definitely changed a little bit over the years, but yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that it's that severe in the UK. I think you gotta jump through hoops just to have a sporting shotgun. That's probably about like getting a handgun in New York City. What do you mean, Jacob? What did you mean by GTGLBRB? What does that mean? If you're still on here. Oh, you'll be right back. All right. Yeah, do whatever you're gonna do, man. But you can just message that anytime, or like I said, you can hit any of those links, and I try to answer everything in a timely manner. I may not always do so, especially across all of them. Email's the one I'm going to overlook the most easily. The best way to get a hold of me is going to be that Facebook uh, Messenger interface, or message me on eBay as well. You can go over there, same username across all those different platforms. Dependable Flame. Oh, I was looking for, forgetting what I was doing. Let's see how stiff the flint is in this one. See the bit in the tube, but it's not reaching. So let's just give some pressure and turn, and it feels pretty soft. Yep. There you go. Park lighters, more than any other, have given me a hard time over the years. I think it's because of the aluminum construction, how it expands sometimes. I don't know about all the elements that are at play when that flint begins to degrade in the tube, but I've encountered some of these aluminum park lighters that I just gave up on. Feel like we might have a little bit of debris to remove from the file wheel. Tube is clear though. Retrieve my toothpick. I know I'm going to need it again sooner or later. Looks like most of this isn't so much debris caked in, it's just dust on the surface. That looks a little bit more caked in there. Still doesn't look like too much of a problem though. That was pretty much on the surface. I don't think it really would have affected the function, but since we're replacing it with cotton, we'll just go ahead and use the whole wick. Have to get some cotton ready here. Yeah, naphtha, like I said, I don't think that that wheel really needed it, but I'm probably going to be selling this or listing this lighter to sell, so I definitely want to get it in as best shape possible. But it couldn't hurt cleaning the wheel of your Zippo or whatever it is that you just want to make sure you don't use any oil or anything like that. Get a wick bent down. Put our cotton in. It's funny how many comments I get about cotton bacon from people who have watched ZF77's old videos. I don't know if there's a difference or not. I bought this organic cotton coil. I'll just push that down in there with the cotton rather than trying to place so much effort there in that one spot. But I bought this because I was getting for the price, basically. I can't remember. I think it's at least the first time I bought it. It was seemed like $3 or $4 a roll. Pretty affordable. And I wish I had a felt pad to put in to replace this with, but I don't, so I'm not going to sweat it. I probably will go ahead and take that solid foam fuel cell that I tore up pulling out of here, put that in a Ziploc and include with it, just so they know. But that's one bad thing about that. That's why I try to push down through that hole to get it to expose itself so I can get a hold of it, because it's not the first one that I've torn up trying to pull it out of there. So now let me dig up. I had trouble finding flint last week, so I made sure and put some of the flint that our friend Robert Hollingsworth sent. He's red colored. It's not red painted like the old, or coated like the Redskin Ronson flints were. It's just sort of the tint of the metal, I think. So we got the flint down, flint spring screw. Yeah, I'm with you, ZDF. I'm the same way about fuel, man. I know a lot of people, excuse me, it's like their greatest mission with a petrol lighter is to figure out how to get good fuel economy out of it. And I can appreciate that. I really can. You know, one of these days that may be me. It would have to be a long while. I'm having too much fun to quit doing this, and I've got too much to do to stop. But I don't like wasting fuel, but no, I don't sweat it. I don't sweat it at all. I've always got a couple of cans around me. I got a couple of the Zippo canisters full on my bag in case I need them, which happens. And no, I'm like you. I just go ahead and switch them out when it's time. If it doesn't last as long as, it kind of disappoints me. Had somebody message me a couple of months ago about the Cygnus, how to get better fuel economy, and it's a little bit of a drag that it only lasts about 3 days, but it just barely takes a drop of fuel to fill one of those up as well. Packed pretty tight inside that just straight bore up to the top. It doesn't have a big tank, so it doesn't take much, and it lights very effectively. You just got to put fuel in it every 3 or 4 days. That's a pretty nice looking lighter. I like how they mixed up the tones with the textures and finishes. Did I not fill that up enough? I didn't put any fuel in that. What am I thinking? I don't know what made me think I fueled it, but I obviously skipped a step. Just show some wear scuffs. Some of that may still clean off a little better. Part made in USA. That insert is not marked. Plenty of park inserts that aren't marked. There we go. Yeah, that's sort of my attitude as well, Naphtha. That doesn't happen though. I can't think of one that. Even that lighter, that had the big hole in the. I've got that lighter for sale right now. The one that had the big hole in the fuel screw. That lighter lasted a week. It was one of the most fuel efficient lighters I had, and here effectively had no fuel screw. You talking about the Zippo? Let me. You talking about these, Sean? Is that the flat bottom you're talking about? These work pretty well. I saw ZF77 published a video the other day. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but he must have found an old one that still had a bunch of fuel in it. And I believe it. It's well constructed. Got your rubber seal on the top, and you've also got the rubber seal where the tank joins. That fluid isn't evaporating anywhere. Oh, about half that size, huh? Where you get that at? Yeah, these, I'm not sure, you say 10 milliliters. These aren't much more than just filling up the lighter once. Maybe you get a little bit more than that out of it. I do that all the time too, Naphtha. I'll start to look around and my fuel's feeling low, and then I'll pick up. That's what happened here. So I picked up the small one. No, I picked up the Ronson. No, because I knew all I had was that small one, but I forgot I hadn't even used it. And then of course I've got more fuel over at the place in Mesta Park. That's why I'm kind of short-handed here. I think I've mentioned it before. When I do these live streams, I'm just north of Bricktown here in Deep Deuce. Awesome. I'll check that out, Sean. Looked like the lighter was a little overfill. Burning nice though. How do you guys feel about using a lighter that doesn't have a felt pad? Do you feel like a felt pad is necessary? Helpful? Or do you not really care? Sean, I'm going to try to hit this link. I don't know what will happen though. I don't even know if it'll let me hit the link. Yeah, it will, but it'll take me away from here. So I don't think I can do that. Yeah, you know, felt pad like a Zippo. That solid foam fuel cell that was in that park lighter. Of course, it didn't need a felt pad. When you got I think the Zippos that have a solid foam fuel cell, I think they do have a pad, but the parks don't. They just put the foam in there for the entire length. But anyway, yeah, that's the felt pad I'm talking about. I noticed some people they think that really helps, and I'm not saying it doesn't. That's why I'm asking the question. Just wondering how you guys feel about it. Is Eastwa still in the live stream here? What was your video today if you're still in here, Eastwa? What kind of, you want to give us a sneak peek or a clue as to what kind of video you were making today? You talking about the rubber seals, Sean? Ah, your first restoration. Eastwa, how long have you been collecting lighters? Yeah, Sean, the seals in those Zippos are great. So if the seals in the one you're talking about are, yeah, I watched yesterday's video, Eastwa. I'm confusing myself here. Sean, you were talking about that tank. I confused myself. Eastwa, I watched the video yesterday. So you say that was part one. Today's part two. Trying to remember. You're the only person I follow on TikTok, so when I click on following, I see your videos. Okay, wow, man, that's awesome. So you're pretty new to this too. I got my first, the first lighter that I bought wasn't even a vintage lighter. It was a 2017, I think, maybe 16, brushed chrome that I bought because of I binge watched the show Sons of Anarchy, and it really romanticized those Zippo lighters. And shortly after buying that, then I was on eBay looking for other lighters, and that's where I discovered vintage lighters. So I've been buying them since about the summer of 2017, about when I started. I never had a Zippo. That was the first. I mean, I've smoked since I was, I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but I did when I was 18 years old and did all the way up until I was in my 30s or 40s, but never, always just used a Bic or plastic disposable lighter. Really shameful when I think about it now. And also, missed opportunity. That would have been a lot of lighters I could have owned over the years that would have survived and, still had stories to tell rather than being thrown away along the way. I gotta agree with you. I think that for a lot of people, it's kind of like the Beatty jet. You get into these old machines, and maybe you got into it because of Zippo or the Ronson or whatever. Those are all cool. But then you get introduced to something like a Thorns that, man, flies open with such force. The first double claw I had really I was mesmerized. But the same way with the Beatty jet, that when you see that petrol fuel causing that hissing jet like that, it boggled my mind. I didn't understand. It had never dawned on me that somebody might have created something like that to use for a cigarette pipe or a smoking pipe and a cigarette lighter. So yeah, just the ingenuity, sort of what I fell in love with. What's your Beatty, is the tube clogged? Yellow submarine. You talking about the Beatles' Yellow Submarine, Natha? It's pretty cool first video. The wick has come out of the bottom end of the tube. I've never run across one that had that problem. Um, I've had a couple of them that somebody had gotten into that jet with something bigger than they should, and it wasn't good anymore. The, that hole really can't be. You shouldn't be able to see that hole. I mean, just a speck with your naked eye. You shouldn't even be able to see that it's actually a hole there. Yeah, ZDF, that's kind of the way I am, man. It's really, but you know, it's kind of frustrating too, because every now and then you come across one that, like East was talking about, that doesn't work right, and then it's, of course, that's half the fun too, is trying to fix it. But um, unfortunately, like I said, I've never had one that looked like the wick, like anything had even. Um, I don't know that I've had one that anybody has been inside. I've maybe owned, I don't know, a dozen of them, maybe a few more than that. I'd say at least a dozen, maybe 20. Um, but they all ended up working except for, I believe it was two that the hole in the jet was just too big. Wouldn't cause the pressure that it needed to. You talking about no probe? Are you talking about the probe won't go in the tube, Eastwa? Do you have a probe for your Beatty jet, or you use something else? I've had several people um, suggest other. I don't know what the diameter of that probe is, but it's not very big. And like things like welding tip cleaners, that's too big. Toothpick, or not toothpick, paper clips, that's too big. So you're saying you're having trouble finding a wick that you can block that terminal end of the tube with? That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. The wicks that were originally in those Beatties, I'm pretty sure was kind of a stiff fiberglass type wick, probably a mixture of fiberglass and asbestos. Um, so yeah, those wicks might be a little bit bigger than other wicks, the wicks that were originally in them. Gotcha. Yeah, that's where I say I've been fortunate because um, I don't remember ever opening up a Beatty that I felt like. I mean, I've had some that were worn out, but even then, the wadding all still looked original. Didn't look like it had been rewicked. And they usually, like I said, they usually have that stiff, maybe a little bit broader. It's a different material too. Fiber. I know there's fiberglass in it, and I just assume that all those wicks before, the 1980s or so have asbestos in them. Sean, I'll have to look up that link, man. If I couldn't hit that link, it'll take me away from the live stream here, and I'm not sure what happens if is that like when I'm uploading a video, it stops the upload when I take it off the screen. When I'm in this YouTube app. Yeah, I could see why you would make that assumption, Sean, because most jet flames are butane, and then I'm not going to be interested in them. But yeah, it's a really neat, and it's kind of, you saying that you didn't know it exists. That reminds me of the lamp you were talking about last week. There's all kinds of cool miner's lamp. There's all kinds of cool inventions, mechanisms, and things that have been created over the years that, you know, time had forgot about them before I even came along. So, Eastwad, do you have any plans to publish videos on YouTube again, or are you solely on TikTok at the moment? Does TikTok pay for content? Well, I'm trying to keep up with your content either way, whether you're posting here, there, or wherever. But YouTube is really good. Like I said, I like the, you know, the notifications, even though it doesn't seem like they notify you immediately when somebody you're following publishes a video. You do get a notification. It is a I believe a nice platform, provides a good deal of camaraderie and all that good stuff. But you know, TikTok may be just the same or even better, as you pointed out how much interaction you get over there. And I mean, that's crazy, the number of views and followers and all that. But once again, you're not just publishing boring old videos about cigarette lighters. You're really putting on a show. You do a good job of that, that's for sure. Never boring. And always informative, entertaining. How do you do that voice? Is that your voice, or is that a computer generated voice? I will be going to the post office later today. I sold a lighter this morning. So if anybody has been eyeing anything there in my eBay store and is on the verge of purchasing it, even though we're past the deadline of 11 a.m. for me to ship it today, as long as you buy it by about 4 or 5 o'clock, then it will get shipped today. I don't know about you guys, but I got a full day, full afternoon. We were talking about all the nuts earlier. So I got some baking to do and maybe a little bit of roasting of some nuts, so I have something to eat for the rest of the week. And then walking home to mail that lighter and do whatever might need to be done over there. Computer generated with TikTok. That's very interesting. I wish I'd have known. I never even thought about that when I created the intro to my YouTube videos. Most everything that I've done has kind of been by the seat of my pants. And I had a friend who right there, it was just a little over 2 years ago, that told me he thought I needed an intro and an outro. Not just a friend, my best friend, who was watching along the videos daily as I was publishing them. Oh, that's right. I was talking about the intro and outro. So then I just did a little bit of research where how long those should be, and took some stock music from whatever program I had there and on my laptop, and put some video clips together and said those words, and it all worked out okay. But yeah, that's kind of a cool deal. I've wondered about that. And so I guess all your videos are published in English? But English is not your first language, is that correct? Get my bag of Flint sealed up before I spill them everywhere. So we did accomplish at least one thing today. Got that lighter re-wicked and wadded, and the flint dug out of the tube. You're good either way, huh? Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know how you figure out something like that. I'd have a hard time doing it in anything but English, but that's the only language well, maybe I can think through, I can use logic to figure out what some words mean, some Spanish words, other words from other, but I certainly can't speak any other languages. Let alone feel comfortable equally with them. That's a cool program, though. Whatever it is, it allows you to do that, because it sounds really good, and it sounds really professional. But I mean, the voice sounds like somebody who should be speaking like that, like the announcer on a movie trailer or at a boxing match or something like that. Do any of you guys collect ashtrays? ZDF told us earlier that he had some of these. But we hadn't talked about these other porcelain or glass ashtrays that are out here. Yeah, that's good, Eastwalk. you know, everything, any kind of tool that you can find that either helps you save time or improves your content or both, then yeah, I could see certainly be worthwhile. I would, I don't know that what I do is really conducive to TikTok, or that I am creative in a way to get people's attention. Um, but I'm still a little bit leery. I just haven't used it for much simply because of the privacy issues that they keep talking about. Um, you know, where normally you get on a social media and you tell it, yeah, give it permission to do whatever. I've been a little bit more leery to let it look at my contacts and all that. I'm sure if it's underhanded, they've already done it. They've already looked at it anyway. Uh, and I don't really know what danger. I mean, all this talk about, you know, data and privacy, and there's a breach every other week from something, a credit card or a database or something. So, yeah, that sounds really cool, ZDF. Have you done a video on that one? It's so it's an ashtray analyzer and then the pyramid motif. Yeah, I agree with you, Sean. Now that you say that, it seems like I might have seen plastic ashtrays with that, in that same shape. Yeah, you'd never take it on purpose, would you, Sean? I'll take a look at your channel after a while and see if I can find that. Get a look at it. I certainly don't consider myself an ashtray collector, but I haven't been as quick to sell them. You know, sometimes an ashtray is a little bit bigger or heavier, so the shipping is going to cost a little more. So it's just, I don't know, a little bit more thought process for me, a little bit more of a headache. But they're starting to accumulate to the point that I'm going to have to start selling some of them. I use a lot of ashtrays as well, but I can't possibly use them all. Have you guys attended any other live streams lately? Have I missed any from J-Row Light or ZF77 Outdoors? I'm trying to think anybody else. Does Zippo Lions Den or any of those guys, have they done live streams? I like peeking into those when ZF77 is doing them on the weekends, but I don't think he's really done those in a while. I know he did one or two when the news came out about Comrade T-Man, but I don't remember seeing him out and about since then. Yeah, are you talking about the metal one or the metal Lucky Strike ashtray, Sean, or the black porcelain or glass, whatever it is? Black, yeah, I got a few of those. So we'll have some more videos of similar ashtrays to those. Those that Lucky Strike is really, man, it may be of all the brands, it may be the most nostalgic. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why it would be more than Camel, or did they maybe quit making those for a while? I see them when I go to the gas station or the pharmacy now, so I know they're making Lucky Strikes at the moment, but maybe they went out of production. Is that one reason that the... Why is it so collectible though, Sean? Just because it's Lucky Strike. Why is it more collectible? Why is Lucky Strike stuff so much more collectible than Marlboro or Camel, which are both very collectible? It's not as much of it as far as the Zippo stuff goes, that's for sure. You don't have the promotional stuff, the Camel Cash and Marlboro Reward stuff that you had from the, well, I guess the 80s and 90s. You don't have that stuff for Lucky Strikes. Maybe because there's not as much of it. It was harder to buy the Lucky Strike cigarettes. Yeah, I don't know if it is. I don't know. I don't smoke tobacco. I don't advocate it either. I got friends that smoke cigar, and I've thought about smoking a cigar here or there, but haven't done it. But I smoke plenty of other stuff. Worked on that. Can you hear me now? I was just saying goodbye to everybody. I think somebody tried to call me, and that may have knocked it off. I don't know. Different device. I don't know. But I appreciate all you guys joining us today, and especially all the new folks. Make sure if you haven't already to go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Tell your friends next week, even if you can't make it, maybe they can. And we'll try to do this every Tuesday at 10 a.m. So Sean, do you think it was the ad that knocked out the sound, or? That's strange. How often does it play ads while we're live? And then how does it catch you back up when we're done? Yeah, it must have been on my end. It's probably all my devices are tied together, so it tries to ring through on all of them. So that's probably what threw the sound out. So I will try to remedy that next time. Make sure that doesn't happen again. Oh, it only plays ads at the beginning. Interesting. Oh, you're saying no, none during. Okay. Well, any way around it. I can't remember ever seeing an ad during one of ZF77's live streams, but I didn't know if he had ads turned on those. So I will see you guys next week, and like I said, tell all your friends. Tell your enemies if they're lighter people. We'll try to have a project of some kind, maybe some things to talk about, and got some vapor lock here. Maybe we'll talk about vapor lock next week. Until next time.